Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to keep it positive, make sure we don't have any lazy negativity, we've decided to make this episode a drinking game. So anytime we say anything negative about this film, you're going to hear this sound. That sound means we need to take a drink. We hope you drink along with us.
So, gentlemen, prepare your shots. Pour yourselves a glass at home. We're going to talk about a movie that has adults acting like kids, and not one of them's a senator.
Where's my fucking afros? Pasting for MacBook Air. No, where is it? There you are, Dave, you dick. All right, people, we're talking about Shazam 2. That's right, Shazam Fury of the Gods, which review's not great. It's not. We're a positive podcast. We're going to try to keep it positive here, but that is the news. The news is the reviews are middling at best.
Those stuffy reviewers, not good.
48 Metascore in the 50s.
I mean, I know why that needed to be shouted.
This also did not do particularly well at the box office. We have our numbers in. We have $31 million opening weekend, which fell below their projections of 35 to 38, which was low in itself. And the worldwide gross opening weekend was $66 million, which is far short of its production budget, let alone marketing, which the cast, especially Zachary Levi, was very publicly unhappy with the way this was marketed. And I don't think the James Gunn rollout where he basically was like, the Flash is what we're working on. This is just, we already made this. I don't think that helped this film either.
I mean, this movie's been finished for a long time.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more about that, though, because
Dave,
I didn't know that he was upset about that.
Oh, yeah. He's been quite vocal about people bagging out the film and stuff like there's been a lot of negativity on Twitter, because there always is, because people just love to poke and try and get a reaction out of someone. And he's just like, why are you shitting all over this? We made this. It's like he is proud of it, and just let it be. You don't have to shit all over something. And like, again, I agree with that. You don't understand how hard it is to make these fucking things.
True. Did you?
I definitely don't. Yeah.
Did you? Did you wait, hold on. What did you say? You just said something. Wait, I just lost it. Did you see that the AI that they gave a Twitter account to? And they just said, like, the AI is just fluid and it's just going to develop a personality. So for 24 hours straight, just went on Twitter and started posting and retweeting things. Within 24 hours, started saying things like Hitler is right.
That usually happens.
Wow.
It got that bad. Like that Twitter is so shitty, it can turn an AI into a neo-Nazi in 24 hours. It is designed to do that. It literally just goes with the flow, and that's what it did. It started out by saying, like, I love puppies.
The other one they created recently that is able to pass the bar exam with 90%?
90%?
Yeah. It's like, can you imagine the audio recording of that? It'd sound like John on this podcast. It's like, I'd like to represent myself, Your Honor.
Hey, there was a version of ChatGPT in this. It was just a Harry Potter pen was basically ChatGPT in this thing here, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're talking about Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. People, that we got to get into it here. But before we do, we just want to thank you, especially if you're new to the show. Please like and subscribe, all of those good things. Try to keep it positive. We're going to give you our recommendations of what we've been up to at the end of this episode in our segment, What You've Been Watching. And right away, we're going to do some gripes of the week. We just want to talk about some shit, get some shit off our chest, catch up a little bit. So if you need to hear about Shazam and you're not interested in our banter, go ahead and scoot along about 10 minutes or so. And we will keep it spoiler free. So if you haven't seen the film yet, we'll give you a couple minutes and we will make it very clear when we head into our spoiler territory, so we can encourage you, hopefully, or discourage you from seeing the film, but hopefully encourage you. Any other news or updates from you two before we get into the gripes, before we get into the film?
Can I just say, my theater, I went to AMC in Times Square, was packed for a Sunday afternoon. Like, there were so many people and their kids there. It was amazing. Well, welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
Nice. Was it rainy?
Or was it not really. Yeah, I mean, there might have been. I can't remember, to be honest. But no, they were just, everyone was out to the movies on a Sunday.
You know what? Apparently not anywhere else, because this movie didn't do particularly well. But good. I mean, gotta love it.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience here a couple weeks ago. We went to the movie on a... Me?
What?
It both starts with J. Would you call me Jeff? That's a movie reference.
What the fuck? It was super
call me
packed
Jeff?
on like a Saturday a couple weeks ago. But it's been rainy as fuck here, so I think it pushed more people into the theater than normal. But I did have a similar sensation. A giant movie theater here at the Grove was super crowded. Super crowded.
Yeah, your weather lately has been described as like super London.
Dude,
super
it's
London.
crazy.
It's like...
Since January 1st, every single county in California is now out of the worst case scenario drought. There's like several different measurements. Almost all of the state was in it. It's all out of that now. And most of the, like over 60% or something like that, is out of the next level of drought. There's like less than 30% that is still in like the next level. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. This weather has sucked in a lot of ways, but we're finally getting a lot of rain.
All those like reporters were like, yeah, this isn't going to fix the drought. It won't sink in. And Mother Nature's like, hold my fucking beer. In fact, I'll tip some of that on you too. Fuck it.
I mean, it's they're not wrong. It's mostly running off into the ocean, which sucks, but we're just getting so much that it is saving us from like the absolute worst case scenario. I was upstate this week and it looked like fucking Ireland, fucking Switzerland. It was these giant rolling hills that are normally gold or brown are dark, lush green. It's so interesting. It looks so weird.
That's
California.
That's the sort of shit that held up the Mad Max movie when they were making it. Because they were planning to shoot out in the desert in the middle of Australia, and it got the most rainfall that it got in like 50 years or something, and it all flowered. Everything flowered, grass came up, and they're like, well, we can't rip this out, so they ended up shutting down production.
Desert flower.
Yeah. They shut down production.
Yeah,
they went to Tunisia or
that's
something.
Jeff's grinder name.
Poor Australia didn't get to be the pinnacle of dystopian futurism via apocalyptic desert.
Don't worry, I'll get there.
Mix filming. Yeah. Well, I'm
God
glad.
damn you guys! We were analyzing some of Mad Max the other day, and in a class talking about different styles of composition with like editing sequences, and you know, it was the famous example of how he kept everything centered so that he could move really quickly from shot to shot. Yeah. God, it was fun. I hadn't watched those sequences in a while. That first massive chase sequence when they first attack her. God, it's awesome.
Fury Road? Yeah, fuck yeah. Also,
I feel like Bill, fucking Chris Farley. I feel like, you remember?
Yeah.
You remember?
You remember when you were in the Beatles? Yeah, that was cool. That was so cool. Yeah. Well, all right. Kudos, California. I'm glad you retained your water because I have seen Chinatown and it's stuff out there. But also go teachers in LA, get your money. Actually, teachers assistants. We got to pay our teachers assistants. Teachers aid.
Forget about a desert flower. It's Chinatown.
All right, John. Thanks for recording on.
I had a larger shot than normal. Sorry.
You're celebrating a very important person in your life's birthday by getting drunk with us online. So that's really great. People, let's do our gripes of the week so we can get on with our Shazam Fury of the Gods episode. Do either of you two have a gripe this week?
I do.
All right, you got 60 seconds,
hit it.
Dave.
Well, as I said, I went to AMC Times Square and it was packed. And I got up to the front of the line and I'm standing there and the people in front of me just took forever. And I realized why these counters are so fucking slow now, because everyone's standing there just staring off into space and that sort of thing. They get up to the counter. Oh, what do you want? I don't know. What are you getting? If you don't know what you fucking want, that's a conversation for the line. Okay. You've got like 5 minutes in that fucking line. Figure out what you want. So you walk up on the counter. I want this and this and this. You get it. You leave. Don't be standing there going, oh, what the fuck?
Yes.
For Dave's favorite gripe. If we have a Mount Rushmore of gripes, the lines at AMC are the best. Anything either line
that
or
one,
the
that
not even
one
their fault.
Especially, dude.
Yeah, then it's not even their fault.
That's fucking
I've
funny.
got we're like comedians in the 90s making airplane jokes, but I've got an AMC gripe as well. We're just keeping it local, keeping it tight. Hit
mine was more of the clientele than AMC gripe this time around.
Sure. That's true. All right, so there are several AMCs in town here that are connected to these very large malls that are Rick Caruso's malls.
Who's got big malls?
Shout out to Rick Caruso, that asshole who ran for mayor. These malls, whether you like it or not, there's really no place else to park but the parking decks connected to these giant malls. I'm talking about Century City, the American Brand, and the Grove. And every single time you get validated at AMC and you still owe $5. Doesn't matter what the fuck, how long you were there, how long the movie was. It doesn't matter if you run out immediately. You always have to pay $5 extra. And it pisses me off so much, dude. I have contributed to my time at your establishments. They have paid into that parking deck. I know they fucking have. So give me a break. God, it pisses me off. Stop debiting me $5 fucking dollars after going to a movie.
Mind you, if it's a James Cameron film, it's 10.
Honestly, what? Literally, when I saw Avatar, I was like, "This one's gonna cost me. This one's gonna cost me, dude." Jeff, I waited a week and a half to hear you.
That's what Disney said about Avatar 3.
I didn't. Last week's is okay. It was an okay gripe last week.
I'm excited.
You got one?
All right. Yeah, of course. I got a gripe.
Of course.
Guys, can we stop putting stickers on fruit? See, on what fucking planet do I need a fucking sticky glue to prove that this? It's not like I don't know where this comes from. I guess it's for the cashiers to know it. Come on, people, this is fucking ridiculous. I have to peel this, so then I have the sticky part on my apple. I have to clean it just so I get the sticker off. But what if I want to eat it on the go? What if I want to take it out? You know? Also, what is this? This is fruit. It's like, it's organic, it's healthy, it's grown well, but fuck global warming. We got some sticky and some glue and, mixed in with that fucking DST free fucking vegan treat you got there. Also, all these places that are all like cool about the environment, everything's recyclable, they put these sticky ass labels on all the jars that you're supposed to take off, and then it leaves the peel, and it's not going to get recycled, and glass takes 1,000 years to break down. Why do I need the fucking stick? Can't I just like take it off manually? Can I just slip it on off like I'm wearing a fucking corsage or something? Why do I have to have this? We have this recyclable plastic, but it's unusable because of the fucking stickers. Keep the stickers away from my food.
So you know what you got to do?
It's deterring.
You got to make it uncomfortable for them. So you get the fruit, you take the sticker off, you put it on your shirt, and when you get up there, you go, "Oh, well, say I ate an apple while I was here. Can you scan my nipple?"
Yeah, okay.
I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. But seriously, why do we need? So somebody actually has to go and sticker every single, even the bananas. Like, it's a fucking banana. Like, do we need a number for it? Like, I've done the lookout thing at the self checkout, and it's like, it's a banana. Do I need to know it's 49193? It's just a fucking banana.
So obviously, apples are fucking classist, is what we're saying.
And if you're a cashier and you don't know what the apple is, then stop charging different things. Just fucking put Fuji apple and let me get on with my goddamn life.
Stop deterring eating the peel. What is up?
All right,
might make sense for a banana since nobody eats banana peels. Jeff, do you eat banana peels?
No, but what I'm saying is it doesn't make. They don't have multiple kinds. They usually have organic or inorganic. Shut up. Get the
all right,
yeah. All right, you ready to talk about Shazam: Fury of the Gods?
Yes.
Shazam: Fury of the Gods. This is directed by a guy who looks a lot like Hodor, named David F. Sandberg. Directed Lights Out, based on his own short, 2016. Annabelle Creation, 2017.
That Hodor is like a very successful DJ, house DJ.
Yes. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah. You don't need to speak up there in the DJ booth. What a presence that guy has. I think when he was doing like the Game of Thrones tour, I think he like tried to play like shows in the cities he was visiting. I could be wrong about that. Maybe that's just in my daydreams. Okay. He also directed Shazam 1, and the writing team is back. This is David F. Sandberg is back with Henry Gayden, Chris Morgan, and Bill Parker, who made the first one, which is very high reviews and did pretty well at the box office. Not like Avengers good at the box office, but DC. For that DC. Who knows what the fuck? DC just straight up said like, yeah, Shazam's just like out there somewhere. They're doing good shit. I think they do. Would you agree with this, Dave? They mentioned Superman in the first movie because the kid was obsessed with Superman. Do you think
in the first movie, just not his head?
Do you think, well, then they did the Wonder Woman thing, which actually worked out pretty well in this, we'll talk about, but do you think they intentionally tried to not mention Superman or Black Adam so that people like me wouldn't sit there and go, man, this movie would be better with them in it?
Black Adam, the Rock apparently copped an attitude about being associated with Shazam at all. So
yeah, which is funny because he says the word Shazam a lot in that movie.
I think the future president of these United States.
Yeah, I think he
not anymore.
Basically, it was like he just wanted to centralize the universe in around Black Adam and Superman, and kind of present Shazam, which is what the comic is from, doesn't exist.
I will be say, Jesus Christ, I will say,
I will say.
Fuck.
We'll get it out in a minute.
I will say, That would be a pretty cool movie. Superman, Shazam, and Black Adam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fighting Helen Mirren. That's all I really need. All right. I'm gonna read the IMDb. You know who's in this movie? Zachary, Levi is
character
back.
in this movie. It's just Helen Mirren in fucking boxing gloves, and they lose.
I would watch a 7-hour, HBO series about that.
Who's in this movie? Chuck, Maria, and Eddie Casbro.
Oh, by the way, John, you're over in LA. Did you see they're doing SnyderCon? Where it's they're doing IMAX screenings of the Snyder cut of the Justice League. There somewhere real soon.
Sick private viewing of that over the pandemic, but that could be fun. I'd probably go watch that.
Yeah, and they're apparently over the weekend they're showing like Man of Steel and all of them.
Are they showing The Watchmen? That's still my favorite.
I don't think they're showing The Watchmen. It's just the Justice League stuff.
You know when
I also really like
quarterback
300.
Me too. Didn't he? You know when a quarterback is like 1 or 2 good years and then he makes $300 million off of it, but he's bad for the most of that money. I shouldn't say that. I should rephrase that.
That's strong.
I know. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. I like some of those movies.
It's kind of like if Jeff, if your first movie was Tenet, I would be like, God damn, he's got talent. We wouldn't say that's a bad. We would be like, wow,
Tenet.
How did you make that for your first movie? For your 8th movie or whatever it was, we might say you can do better. But bad, I don't know. Zachary Snyder's not.
Djimon Hounsou is back as the Wizard, formerly known as Shazam. We got Adam Brody back as superhero Freddy. Anybody else of note besides Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu? I really feel like they fucked up the Rachel Zegler credit in IMDb, but she's obviously out on the trail promoting this. She is, of course, Maria from West Side Story and End of List, but she has Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the new live-action Disney animation. Is it a mix? I forget if it's live action or if it's a blend.
If it's got a couple of animated creatures in it, they call it live action these days. Look at Lion King.
So she's in this movie. I was at a birthday party that Lucy Liu was at. I was in the service industry, but I was there playing piano. And we got
love her.
Asher Angel, Dylan Glazer's back, DJ Cotrona, Ross Butler, Grace Caroline Currey. I'm just trying to make sure we get our credits in. Faith Herman, Jovan Armand, Cooper Andrews, Marta Willens, Ian Chan. I get it. Okay, cool. So that's the cast. Are you ready for me to read the description and send it away for your spoiler-free initial takeaways?
Please, God.
The film continues the story of teenage Billy Batson, who, upon reciting... Fucking guy. Did you call me Jeff? Upon reciting the magic word Shazam, is transformed into his adult superhero alter ego, Shazam. They talk about it's Billy Batson, but isn't Freddy kind of the lead of this movie? You know what I mean? Like, doesn't he? What do you think?
No,
definitely arguable. I think we saw more Freddy than Billy in this movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
For the younger
and
kids,
more character turns for Freddy than Billy. More importantly, than screen time.
What are your initial takeaways? What do you guys think? What'd you feel?
Who wants to go first?
David.
I'm not going to mess around. I fucking love this. This is one of the best DC movies ever released in years. I had so much fun.
Let's fucking go, Dave. Let's go.
What did you love about it, Dave?
Yeah, you can't just leave us hanging like that.
I loved this seemed to have more like character arcs for a lot of the family and stuff like that. I loved the villains were set up. They're not apparently. I don't think they're traditional Shazam villains. They kind of created them for this scenario. I love the color. I love the cinematography, the visual effects. And I will say the one thing I didn't like about like Black Adam and a few of the other ones, including the original Suicide Squad, I think was the worst of it. It felt that they felt really contained. It was like, this is just a couple of set pieces and a battle. This, just like, despite what happens in the movie, didn't feel contained at all. It felt bigger. It felt like there were, good stakes involved. I didn't feel like it was just like they scrimped on the budget. They didn't scrimp on a single fucking thing in this.
Oh, wow.
I feel like it was cheaper than some of these recent recent movies too. If the $100 million budget thing is true, I feel like that's actually cheaper.
It's funny. He has said that a lot of people he blames the marketing because what they didn't market was this is a great movie to take your kids to. And you know what? I agree because everyone took their kids in my screening, and I'm pretty sure only 2 of them ended up in therapy. So, it's.
I hope the therapy.
When they start getting to the monsters, it gets a little scary.
I hope the therapy is better on this show than it is on The Mandalorian season 3, episode 3. That was tough therapy with that robot. Anyway, anything else, Dave? You want to keep gushing about this for a little bit?
That's all I got for now.
Do you think that part of it, and I'm not giving my review, I'm just curious, do you think that part of the reason this would definitely work for kids and maybe the adults are just not going is because the scenario is not unique? Obviously the specifics that we know having seen the film are, but ultimately people are coming, the whole world is at stake, these people's powers are in the way, they're going to have to confront each other for the sake of the world and or the universe. Like, do you think people are just getting tired of the formula? Because if you just tune it out and forget about the rest of the universe and just let this be a standalone thing, then yeah, I could totally see why it's a great family. You know what I mean? Do you think adults are just bored of it?
I don't know. I think they didn't really market it as a thing to take your kids to, so adults are giving it a miss because they'd go by themselves to see something, and there's plenty of other things to go and see right now.
Remind me what they marketed at, because a superhero that buries his voice in his throat, just making witty quips, and also has superpowers, I feel like is right up the alley.
That can come across as like a PG Deadpool almost.
Sorry.
Stop. A PG Deadpool. I mean, I guess that's true. But he doesn't seem drunk like Hitchcock or Hancock. And
no, that's true. But yeah, the thing is, they didn't really say, they didn't really outline that you could take young children to this. And I don't think I'm out of line in saying that there's not that much that would totally freak out a young kid in this. It is PG.
Right. Yeah.
So, don't take your 4-year-old. They're going to run screaming out of the fucking theater at one point. But apart from that, I just think that might have been what shortchanged it. Also, a lot of people are put off by what's going on with DC at the moment. They don't want to get invested because the word on the internet is all these characters are going away. Because James Gunn's taken over the new universe, so why invest in this?
Do you think they would go see it if they were told he literally gets in a boxing match with a dragon?
Well, they showed that in the trailer.
Yeah, I know, that's why I'm saying it here in our spoiler-free section of the podcast. He literally gets in a fist fight with fucking if Drogon fucked Treebeard. That's who Shazam got in a fist fight with, which is pretty fun. They should have marketed it as that. And also, they should have marketed it as what everybody wants to do to the city of Philadelphia. Put a dome in it and put in all these put in the Last of Us shit. Just put it all in there, cover it with a dome, and there's Philadelphia. Come on! John, what do you think of the movie?
So that was what Jeff thought of the movie.
I'm laughing. I'm having a good time talking about this movie with my friends. What the fuck?
Yeah, sure. I think Dave, I know what you mean, man. I think ultimately I did have a good enough time for probably the 40th or 50th superhero movie that we have seen in the past 15 years. This is a genre film, and I feel like we're kind of in like the 50s or 60s with like those B horror movies where like that genre is just so rampant right now that we're kind of running into what Jeff is talking about. We're running into these dilemmas of story, and we're starting to see a lot of the similar formulas and patterns emerge. So what part of me is like, I'm kind of hoping for always something fresh, but if fresh isn't there, then I'm also hoping for a fresh point of view on how to approach this genre. And I do think David F. Sandberg, very successfully with the first one, has a little bit of that tongue-in-cheek with the way he goes about these particular stories. So the Shazam character lends itself, because of the kid, it's a big movie, right? It's the big premise for superheroes. I don't know if this one as a whole took that on as well as I wanted it to, like it did in the first one. But there are still enough moments, and there is still enough. I think I'm going to make the argument that if you don't want to watch a superhero movie, you're not going to like this movie. This isn't going to be one that's going to transcend. That was an excellent movie, regardless of what genre it was packaged in. But if you do like superhero movies, I think this one has a little bit more depth to his satire than people are giving it credit for.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you, not to give too many spoilers away, but whenever you start bringing in the works of the gods, and I feel okay saying that because it's in the trailer and it's in the title of the movie. Whenever you get the mythology of traditional Greek lore involved, there's going to be a little bit of what the fuck, why not, kind of going into the telling.
Yeah.
And I think it took me a little bit too long to start realizing he's making fun of this genre. And as soon as I allowed myself to start saying, this is absurd, I'm not supposed to actually be emotionally invested in this ridiculous cacophony of giant superpowers and magic that's happening, I was able to have a lot more fun with it. There was a little bit of me that, unfortunately, they got there first. We've talked about this before. Marvel, not counting Nolan's Batmans, which are on a whole other level, Marvel got there first with these character pieces. So there is always a little bit of me that is waiting for them to get me invested emotionally. And that just never happens with these movies. And that's okay. It doesn't need to happen every single time for you to have fun, as long as you like superhero movies. So I think that's kind of what I walked out with. And shout out to Kami Asghar, the sound supervisor, 424 Post, who did all the sound on this. That worked for them this summer, and it was really cool getting to watch them and hear them putting this thing together with all the sound design, which is really fun. I thought it sounded really good in my Dolby theater.
I want to talk about that for a minute, because that Dolby mix was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I saw it.
I was sitting there and I could hear everything, and things are fucking blowing up left, right, and center. The school bell comes from where the school bell always is on the wall, and shit like that. And I'm like, at one point I stopped and I thought, like, shit's blowing up everywhere, and a truck's just rolled down the street.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is what Nicole meant when she said "sound you can feel."
Sound you can feel. I will say this, just a fun little anecdote without giving any secret sauce or NDA kind of stuff away. They came back to him pretty late in the summer, and the sound supervisor, for anyone who doesn't know, is kind of like the administrative in-between. They're the person who gets hired initially in post-production, and they are the ones who hire the sound editors, the sound mixers, and everyone kind of works for them. Somebody like Kami Asghar is also a unbelievable talent in this world, so he's kind of done all that stuff too. So he doesn't have just the business brain. Sometimes he takes the controls and he just does a lot of the editorial himself when necessary. They sent back at one point, they said the dragon isn't right, and I got to sit with him for a few weeks while he built the sounds for the dragon and was getting sounds from people that were using really unusual techniques of rubbing very heavy pieces of wood against glass to create that kind of sound. It was fun. It was really cool watching them kind of go to town. And ultimately, it was kind of a fun challenge, because the dragon is not a regular dragon. Right? They talk about in the movie it's made of wood and stuff. So again, that's kind of a good thing of what I'm talking about, though. Like, but like that level of sound design, was the dragon made of wood?
That level of sound design, I mean, because it was guarding a garden, I think they said at one point, but that level of sound design, I think, elevated this and made me enjoy it more, because I sat there with a big grin on my face. I was just in the middle of everything happening. So, yeah.
Yeah. I do think, Jeff, I agree with you completely. I don't know if kids were invited to this movie with the marketing, other than people, they're not kids, young people who saw the previous one. Because the previous one came out in 2018. Is that right, Dave?
19.
19. So, I mean, if they were allowed to go see a PG-13 movie, then they're well into high school now. And I remember when I was in high school thinking, I'm not going to see kids movies anymore. So I don't know if they're missing a little bit of their demographic, but I do think like the middle school age is probably going to have a lot of fun with this. Late elementary school, middle school, I would probably enjoy this if I was that age.
Well, see, the thing is, when that was released, I didn't go and see it. I was one of those people.
You didn't see the first one?
No, I saw it on HBOMAX like a year later when we were stuck inside for the pandemic. And,
shout out to Mark of the Mark and Matt and Mark movie show. He texted
Mark
me
and Matt movie show.
I did it, Mark. I elevated you. He texted me and he was like, "Have you seen Shazam yet? The Citizen Kane of superhero movies." I couldn't tell if he was serious or not.
Of course he wasn't. That's for Mark.
He actually did really enjoy it. He did really enjoy it.
Yeah, but do you remember the Frozen episode? It still holds the record for the most fucking buzzers ever, and we all enjoyed it.
You guys.
People really want us to get him back and do Frozen too.
It's coming. It's coming. We've been talking about it.
Believe you dickheads did Frozen without me. I will never forget listening to that in a fucking U-Haul while I got pulled over. Anyway, you guys want to know what I think of the movie?
No, move on.
Okay. No, we're good.
I've been talking about this movie for 14 minutes. I didn't tell you what I thought. I just asked some questions. I was just asking questions.
All right, go, Jeff.
What'd you think, Jeff?
I think I agree with John, to be honest with you, Dave.
Jeff.
I asked you to play that if I was talking too long, not when I haven't spoken in fucking 10 minutes.
It's my button. I'll use it for evil if I want.
I agree with John, but specifically this one point, because I also did have fun with the movie, and I appreciated, I think, the comedy element, which is one thing that, no disrespect to Zack Snyder, but because I like the mood and tone he sets, and I also get the criticism that it lives in tone as opposed to, being a little bit more fluid, more up, down, left, and right. It kind of settles in tone, but I still like the Snyder movies. But the comedy element of this, and the fact that it's not Hancock, of course, and it's not Marvel, which is a different sort of beat of genre of comedy, but the fact that it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it does, like, it plays that line really, really well. I think I have to be honest, and I know we're a positive podcast, so I'll say this, because I think it was there. I think the pieces were there. I think the performances really held this movie back. I really do. I think the acting really hurted this movie like so much. In fact,
specifically one performance.
Oh, I can't wait to. I'm gonna guess, and I think we're on the same page. Let's start with this. I think two people in this movie did a good job. Who do you think? And no disrespect to the. Hold on.
I used to try and get
laughing at already.
I should say this because again, we're a positive film podcast. All of the kids, all of the like, but I think all of the. I shouldn't say all of the kids. The younger kids are off the hook because they were sweet, they were charming, they did their job. Although when those Skittles came out, literally the person behind me said, "That's so dumb." They literally said that out loud. I thought that was funny.
They're dumb.
Yeah.
They've forgotten how to be a child. Fuck them.
Fair enough. And forgive me for saying it out loud now.
No reason at all why that would have justified what happened in the plot right there.
Okay. but specifically to the point, and I'll say this why, because I say this productively. I know I'm kind of ragging on the movie, but if other people knew what basically John said, and Dave, you're on the same page because you like the movie because of all of these things that I think the performances held it back from. If some of these actors knew that and had more fun. What am I always asking for actors? I'm never asking them to be deeper. I'm never asking them to go method. I'm always saying have more fun. And there were actors that did not have as much fun as they could have had. And then there were some actors that were trying too hard to have fun. So who do you think were my two standout performances? And one of them is obvious.
I feel like Freddie.
Yeah, I hope he was one that you enjoyed. Did you not enjoy him?
He was close.
He was close. Well, I'm just curious.
He had to push. He had to work too hard. They made him work too hard.
Do we want to go into spoilers so we can just blurt it out?
No.
Yeah, let's.
Who are the two performances? Really, come on. We have one of the best actors on the fucking planet in this movie.
Helen Mirren.
Of course, she was perfect. She was honestly. Yeah, it was actually a bummer that she was in this movie because to me, it made me realize how much everybody else was working way too hard. She made it seem so easy. It's easy, people. Yeah. She made it seem so easy. And the other people, even the people that were closest to her, they didn't take the note. They didn't just do what she did. Just copy, pillage, borrow. Anyway, who do you think the other one was? And I bet you it'll be a little bit of a surprise, but give me a guess.
If it's going to be a surprise, then I am not super sure because in general, I agree with you and I'm not super confident about anybody else, but Lucy. She didn't have a lot to do in the movie, so she was fine. I don't know if I feel comfortable saying her.
She was fine.
Was it Djimon?
Oh, fuck. Okay, there were three. I love Djimon Hounsou. Djimon Hounsou.
Yeah, I thought Djimon.
Oh, my God. Okay. I fucking love Djimon Hounsou.
In this one, actually.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why. Well, Freddie didn't close his locker, and I'll never forget people for not closing doors and lockers. You just closed your locker, bro. We have we just got a great sound. We can't come up with the sound effect for closing a fucking locker. That's not going to distract us from the movie. Close your locker. And
no, they had the sound effect. They're sitting there going, why the fuck didn't he close his locker?
Yeah, exactly right. Anyway,
honestly, they were like, God damn it.
What was the other thing? Fuck, I forget what I was just gonna say. But
was it Rachel?
I liked Adam. I liked Adam Brody, and he had kind of a small role, but I thought he was great. He was fun. I thought he basically was straight out of The Boys. I thought Adam Brody did a fun job.
He did have fun with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I really did. I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to, and it's not just because they shat all over the city of Philadelphia for 90 minutes or an hour and a half, whatever, however long this movie was, 2 hours. I did have fun with this movie. I think if we watched it together the next time, I would all the the little things that I wrote down. We could have some fun with.
I mean,
there's things, right? That we could talk about.
Because I mean, I agree with you, and I think that's the only real hang up. And I kind of want to have a bigger conversation about what David F. Sandberg missed. You know, he's so brilliant. Clearly, he's demonstrated so much talent in such of the larger storytelling aspects, but there is no one else responsible for performances. That is the director's number one job. They're the only person that communicates with actors. You know, it is kind of like when you're working on these. Let's go ahead into spoilers, if that's cool.
Hang on, before we do it, I just want to make one more thing before everyone who hasn't seen the movie possibly tunes out.
We're staying positive.
I said that my theater was full of kids, right?
Yeah.
I have discovered my new favorite thing in the world because I mean, it's a more expensive
there are a lot of kids there.
ticket. But my new favorite thing in the world is kids discovering the robot fucking armchairs in Dolby Cinema.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because it has to be, it's like Dr. Evil trying to adjust his chair. It just goes on for so fucking long. It has to be perfect.
That's your favorite thing? That makes me hate kids.
It's hilarious.
Right.
Sorry, I'm chewing ice on I need another beer too, so somebody give me a good time, because I didn't plan on drinking as much as I am, but somebody give me a good time for me to go get one of these things.
I know what you mean.
All right, we're doing spoilers.
Take a break at some point.
All right,
no break.
We're in spoilers.
You here, fill for 20 seconds so that these people know spoilers. Dad. Spoilers.
He's off to therapy then?
Can he even hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, and this isn't like I'm not being mean here or anything, but I cannot imagine. All right, so I was listening to an executive from Sony the other day in an interview talk about how when they're meeting potential directors for large IP projects like a superhero movie, they're not only interviewing somebody they're looking for like this brilliant, talented brain. When you're working on giant projects like this, you need a manager.
Yeah.
As well as somebody really talented. You're looking for a leader.
Is it your stomach? I've been hearing John's stomach this whole entire record.
Well, I mean, I've been burping. Is that what,
I can't wait to listen back.
I should open my mouth more for you, so it's very clearly a burp.
Thank you. We're on 28 minutes. Somebody had a really good one. All right, go ahead.
Sure. And I guess I don't want to take anything away from everything other than the skills moment. It's not that I didn't understand beat to beat, the big objective and responsibility of a director to make sure the story makes sense. Does it make sense? Do we understand what we're watching? But at the same time, I agree with Jeff. There are inconsistencies in interpretations of the reality that these characters are in sometimes, as well as the more nuanced point that I think Jeff was making, that like they really make sure not only that we're all in the same movie and we're making sense of the story and the plot and blah blah blah, but also like tonally that we are all, if there is comedy, we're within the same vein of comedy. I think the biggest, most obvious standout is that Billy Batson is no longer 12 years old, and Zachary Levi was playing him as though he was younger than the kid actually was. He's not a kid anymore. That is
the one gripe that I did have about this whole thing.
And once I started allowing
character Billy and like Shazam Billy.
So that's the most obvious one, right?
Yeah,
that's the most obvious one. But then when that started bothering me, and that was kind of a thorn in my side, and I was like, God, this is a shame because it's so consistently off. Zachary Levi does the same thing the entire time. He is consistent. So to me, that's not his fault.
I saw a little bit of young Billy at the end.
To me, that's the director's responsibility to be like, dude, I made a huge mistake. We might have to do some reshoots, but you have been playing him too young the entire time. That's on me. You have been consistent the whole time. That bothered me. And then it just kind of started making me think about how some of these performances are not quite in the same world. And I think that is the biggest thing that kind of ended up holding me back. I kept being a little bit distracted by moments, things that maybe went on a little bit too long, and also just in overall interpretations of this is how a kid would play it when they're like less than 10 years older than the kid version.
The one exception to that is the little girl.
Yeah, I think so too.
Her counterpart was spot on the whole time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, she did a good
those
job.
two worked great. Like when they're on the bridge and she's like, "Are those kittens?" and just saves the fucking cats.
I thought
And she's a little kid.
I completely agree,
Yeah.
Dave.
And she's a little kid. But there's a thing about acting that we learn early on is true in Stolen's improv world, is true in the legitimate Meisner group theater world. You always play to the top of your intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
You always do that. And I saw a bunch of examples, directed or not, I don't know, of people playing childlike, and they interpreted that as less intelligent, or it came off that way. It was reading that way. And that's always a little bit distracting, just because there is not for me, when I see Asher Angel, who, by the way, has a very dreamy IMDb picture, Asher, young man playing Billy Batson. Every time I have seen him in these movies, I have never once thought immature. I have never gotten that vibe from him. So I don't know if there's a problem with the casting of Asher Angel as Billy Batson, if he should be more of a rambunctious, off-the-walls kind of kid, a little bit closer to Freddy. But the way Zachary Levi has interpreted him both times has felt a little bit off to me. And it's kind of something that I feel like I have to compensate for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
a
it's
fair
not
point.
that Zachary Levi, he's super talented, obviously.
It's weird too.
Very charming,
how many
talented,
other
funny person.
How many other movies where the passage of time has had such an impact? Because they are playing this as if the last movie ended and then this movie starts pretty quickly afterwards. I think the writing too, those scenes where it's like, I've always been bad at dodgeball, all that kind of stuff. It does seem like all of those lines could have been in the first movie, you know? So it's like, I wonder how much they thought about it. I don't know.
Did anybody rewatch the first one? This made me want to rewatch it because I felt like I was in the dark.
I didn't finish my rewatch, but I did restart it because I don't have your HBOMAX password logged into my new devices because I don't want to get busted by HBO. So I was on the go and I was like, fuck, because I was like traveling around and I wanted to download it, but I watched the first like hour and a half again. It was good. It's good. It's
Dave,
really,
have you
fun.
seen it recently?
Not recently, no.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since it came out, so I'm not sure, Jeff. That I was thinking about that too.
Well,
like, is this the next minute or the next year? Or
I don't want to poo in all of the performances because there is good shit to talk about that we should probably pivot back to since we're a positive film podcast.
They say at one point, isn't he about to turn 18?
Yeah.
So there's a fair jump there.
Well, and also Mary.
How old was he in the first one?
I thought he was like 14 in the first one.
Yeah.
Like freshman in high school kind of thing?
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
A few years. All right.
And Mary just didn't have enough fun, and it's too bad because she's a good actress, but she just took it too seriously. And I wish somebody just said like, I get what you're going for because you're the one who aged out and stuff, but
dude, somebody had to ground Levy.
Come on.
I think, I'll just say this before we move on to the actors. I'm rooting for Rachel Zegler. I'm rooting for her. I think she's going to have a great career. I think I rewatched an Actors Studio documentary after watching this movie because they all say like they needed the Actors Studio when they started getting famous because it kept them grounded. And I hope that I hope she figures it out because Maria was so perfect for her and Snow White is going to be so perfect for her. This was a harder assignment. And when they said she's 6,000 years old, I was like, no, she's not. No, she's not. She was playing like, literally like, they were like, oh my God, my sisters are so mean. And I was like, you're 6,000 years old. You've lived with them for 6,000. She just did not have the point of view. She just didn't have it. And it's too bad too, because the hardest part about film acting, which you'll hear from people unexpectedly after they've been on sets, is the punch-ins, the cut-ins, react. They just said this and you have to go, and none of those, it just seemed like somebody that had never done that before. And it's too bad because she could have been nominated for an Oscar last year and she would have deserved it. But
instead,
I'm rooting for her.
Get invited.
No, she had presented, Dave.
She got invited.
She ended up presenting. But
not at first. There was a huge public backlash. They had to go through that length to get her.
Yes, that's true. So I know I'm bagging her performance in this and it's too bad. But I am rooting for her, and she's going to overcome it.
You know what saved that for me? It was when they started talking about the gods treating humans as their playthings.
Yeah. Okay.
And the scene where
that was enough for me to put like what she was doing in perspective. So yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like that's a thing too. Like Marvel will spoon feed you the whole thing. DC tends like the current. I don't know what the future is going to be, but DC tends to rely on you knowing stuff from the comics or stuff about these characters and filling in the gaps yourself.
I'm sure everybody was coached. I'm sure they spent their money on, that kind of stuff.
I mean, as an audience member.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Yeah. So like when you're watching it, it's like, oh, they're doing that because, this happened in the other literature that I should have read to study for this movie. Right. And I feel like they do tend to kind of rely on that a little bit.
Hey, this is my argument about Mandalorian that you guys shat all over. But anyway, all right, let's pep this back up again. Wolf Blitzer really took his time breaking that museum story. That was like 5 days later.
Dude, that was the other thing as well. When those two, like Helen Mirren and like when they turn up first, straight up, your villains are fucking killing people
right away.
I was like, like they died, like people died.
Yeah, they were really chill before they died too. They were like, "What's going on over there?" It's like, I don't know. It seems like they're turning people into zombies via whisper.
That, and when that cut loose, that almost reminded me of the fucking fight in the church in Kingsman.
Oh yeah,
that was a fun sequence.
I had White Knight vibes in there, but it was so fun. And I know I'm bagging this, but this is the fun of these kinds of movies, is that we sit there and talk this kind of shit in a fun, you know what I mean? But because it was really good. It was a good scene. It was grounded. Yeah. I love that Helen Mirren didn't do anything, and Lucy Liu was the one who spread the campaign, while Helen Mirren like had the prowess. She just stood there and she had the intent. It was great.
You kind of expected You kind of expected Helen Mirren to be the driving force between doing this, but she just didn't have to do anything. She was the restrained force behind this. Like she had rules.
Well, yeah, at the end, yeah. She also died like 6 times, but
that was a fun plot turn that she.
That was cool.
Different.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was as earned as it was. Oh, that's interesting. Like kind of another inciting incident kind of turn on the character, because I don't know if I saw her work up to that.
I don't know. It always,
what I mean, like
Khaleesi.
At the end,
yeah. I mean, just the fact that she was like, "You're talking like our uncle Hades," or whatever her line was. I felt like before that, I maybe would have needed like one more scene where she was genuinely saying like, "We're not doing this because when they first revealed that plot when they were still in their god realm, and Lucy said that, they cut away from them, and you heard Helen Mirren be like, "No, we're not going to do that," but I didn't really see her like making her stand for why that wasn't a good idea. So it kind of came out of nowhere for me. But this was a fun surprise kill.
This was a tight cut.
Way to really push them to the next level. Jeff, I know what you mean about how the adults came in and just had a blast. Like the older cast members, Zachary, not that he's older, but he is, he's much older than I think the other people who are the superhero age. But the Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, and Djimon, how do you pronounce his last name?
Hounsou.
Djimon
Hounsou, Academy Award nominee.
Djimon Hounsou.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they had a really great. I think they really had
so fun.
A good time for however long they were on set. I wonder if they had tighter contracts.
I wonder if they thought,
else.
This prison complex seems really big. There's labyrinths, so don't you think we have space for 2 cells?
What is with these?
It was in this, whatever. It was in the same fucking world. Wait, because they put him into prison, and then they put the next person that they got into the same prison cell. I love when movies do that. That's what I mean. These are the fun things about these kind of movies.
That is the fun thing, and the way that the Shazam team was able to navigate the labyrinth, without they didn't address it at all.
Yeah,
there they are.
Well, she gave him directions.
That was another thing.
She gave him directions.
That was another thing that. When I was too picky about this, I wasn't having fun. As soon as I released, I was like, whatever, let's enjoy this. If you go in too picky, trying to understand how powerful Shazam, Zachary Levi's character, actually is, when he demonstrates the same level of power at the beginning that he does at the end, but it's more effective at the end than it is at the beginning, you're going to be frustrated. It doesn't make any sense. He has the power of those gods. He should be able to overtake them as effectively at the beginning as he does at the end.
Right.
But he doesn't. And you just have to allow yourself to just realize that's just one of those stupid superhero things.
No, it's because he's missing one power. He doesn't get the wisdom. He absorbed
his wisdom of Solo Man somehow in the beginning, throughout the osmosis of this plot.
Also, didn't have
one of those things that happens.
They didn't have human antagonists, human villains. The only villain in this that wasn't a god was a bridge. You know what I mean? So like he didn't stop bullets, and we didn't get to see that kind of flashy, sexy, because there was no Mark Strong type with his goons. So, you know, but especially as a part 2 to the last movie, this was fun, and you can just see yourself like drinking or smoking with your friends and watching this movie and having a good time.
Yeah, it's a fun night. I will say, well, just food for thought, because he does make a Fast and Furious reference. So in this world,
yes, he does.
Vin Diesel knows Wonder Woman.
Oh, in a weird way, like, yeah, that's right. Because she was in the Fast and Furious. They now have connected 5.
Vin Diesel and Wonder Woman, yeah,
because she's in both movies. That was, I will say, I appreciated that, and that requires patience. The blatancy in cutting out her head in Wonder Woman. It's like they were hoping everybody would sit there and be like, "Oh, you didn't even get the real one, but you decided to keep this in the movie anyway." And then when she comes, I feel like that. I think it was a little cheesy at the end, but it still worked out.
It was definitely more fun when he turned around.
You guys, now I'm going to take a quick little break. Keep vamping. I'm going to grab one too. Keep going.
Yeah. Keep drinking. Breaks. Happy birthday, Elizabeth. We're drinking on the podcast. Let's go. John's out of the closet now. John's out of the closet. Fuck. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying. There was a couple of cool, cute little things in there as well. Like they managed to get the Captain Marvel reference.
Okay, can I ask? Sorry, you keep going, and then I'll ask you about that.
Ask the question.
Okay, so Captain Marvel was originally, it wasn't DC. Hold on, I wrote the shit down, and then did I lose it already? So Captain Marvel was National Comics Publishers. No, Shazam was National Comics Publishers. And then after 15 years of non-use, Atlas Comics, who became Marvel, they decided that they could use the same name, Captain Marvel, but as long as the character wasn't different, they couldn't be sued. Well, so that's why there's basically two different Captain Marvels. You didn't go back far enough,
because they created Captain Marvel and the Marvel family.
Under National Comics Publishers, who became DC.
No, DC sued the people that created them out of existence. Because the character was too close to Superman. And then those guys went to work for DC and wanted to revive the character. But at that point, Marvel Comics existed and had established Captain Marvel as their
of the name
their front
Captain
point.
Marvel.
So yeah, so they had to basically they had to come up with something different. So they just used Shazam.
To spin the heads of the people listening, is it also fun that the original name of Marvel Comics was Atlas Comics, and in this movie the antagonists are the daughters of Atlas under DC's banner?
That's pretty funny.
Is that fun for the people?
But the fun thing is, you remember the guy that actually drops the Captain Marvel name as a joke?
In this movie? Yeah, who was it?
That is Michael Gray, I think is his name. He's the original Billy Batson from the TV show. He's even wearing the same fucking shirt.
I love this shit, man.
Yeah. It looked like he was definitely the throwback character.
That was a cameo. He was the original Billy Batson.
In reference to what you said earlier about, don't we all want this to happen to Philadelphia? I thought they were going to give us one instance where we saw some Eagles fans fucking tearing those animals apart.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Why didn't we get some Eagles fans just sprinting just head on right into a fucking like traffic light, just run right into it or something? Why didn't I see? This is what would have happened if the Eagles won the Super Bowl. By the way, they would have done this to their own city. Because that's how fucking crazy these Philadelphia fans are. Shot in a dome, exactly. And you know what? If the apocalypse is going to happen, I hope it happens at wherever the Phillies play, whatever that stadium is. I hope that's where the apocalypse happens.
Guys, I do have a technical question because I didn't quite understand it. Mm-hmm. Is there anything even remotely close to the flavor of ambrosia in Skittles, and I just didn't know that?
No, I think that's why the people behind me were like, I don't know.
No, that was blatant product placement. That's what that was.
It was a fun, honestly, it was a fun little. When they brought Taste the Rainbows into it,
because wasn't Taste the Rainbows? Weren't there unicorns in that commercial? I'm off the cuff. I haven't looked this up at all, but for some reason I felt
can't
like
remember.
Taste the Rainbow.
I thought the planting of the unicorns idea and mythology and her interest in them, and I thought that was fine. Like when unicorns were in that world, I was like, sure, whatever. I don't know why they're here as well. I thought they were going to conjure them somehow, but whatever. They were there. But I did feel like I don't know why Skittles really clutched it for them. That was a little confusing to me. Maybe they should have all they needed was one more moment where she was like reading the ingredients. That would have been like, fine, that's stupid enough for me to believe it. Ambrosia number 5, or red number 6, parentheses, ambrosia-like flavor or something, something like that. Because I didn't quite understand why that happened, and it was kind of like, whatever, that's fine.
Come on, guys, this is the big. We're talking about the big red cheese.
That one was a stretch, but it was cute. It was a stretch, but it was cute.
Yeah, she's really cute.
We all knew that the answer to this unicorns thing wasn't going to be The Godfather. You know what I mean? Like, we all knew, like, whatever. They mentioned Skittles earlier. They're talking about unicorns now. Kids, and you know what? Back to the marketing. Kids love unicorns and rainbows. Sorry to all the people that are anti-drag out there. They love fucking unicorns and they love rainbows. They love them. Unicorn with a rainbow is like a fucking dream come true to these kids. So just let them have their fucking Skittles and let these unicorns kill some fucking demon tree orc people that come out of the ground. A lot of movie references too. I feel like the next time I watch this with you, I want to try to count our movie references. And the score. I feel like we're done with original scores. Original scores are done. I heard Star Wars. I heard Lord of the Rings. I heard that whatever that the triumphant score, especially in the second movie. I heard that theme like a knockoff of that for half this movie. Really? I heard Aladdin when all of a sudden they had this, like, they were talking about like hummus or something. Like all of a sudden I heard like the basic, which like,
is funny because I have no ties to Disney at all.
No, I know they're just ripping off the score because you got to fill all this time. You're not going to come up.
Do you remember when I was talking about Wonder Woman 1984 and I got really upset because
we all got upset.
I got upset as well
because when that flying sequence, they used some of the temp score because I knew that song that had been used in other movies before. There's a moment in this movie that is not original score. That is clearly temp score, and I know that song from something else. It's a freelance composer, and sometimes people use this stuff for temp. They did it again. I don't know who they is. I'm sure these are all different sound people and music and composition. And I thought the moments of some of the original score moments were actually really fun. I do know what you mean, Jeff, but it's almost not even their fault at this point. They temp everything in previs, and they are fucking married to it tonally, and they're just telling these composers, write something like that. So they may have literally dropped that from the Two Towers in there, and they were like, no, it's got to sound more like that. Like texture-wise, we literally want the horns there and the strings there. And he's like, well, fuck, God damn it. Okay, I'll just change like 3 notes in the theme, and I'll put, and I'll just change a little bit of the percussion in the background. And is that what you want? And they're like, oh, that's perfect.
But I get you a lawyers if I do it, right?
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Wait, I know what you mean, Jeff. It is a problem with these monster IP movies, dude. These fucking scores are they are suffering. And not to shout out what we've already said earlier, but there is I think one of the reasons why the Nolans feel so original is the way he and Hans Zimmer collaborate. He usually gives his scripts to him earlier on. He doesn't wait. There's never any temp music put on those movies, ever, in Chris Nolan movies. He usually gets them so early that Chris can hear some of those themes as he's beginning to approach directing the film. And Hans is never going to try to recreate like a sound of one of his earlier pieces or something. And I think it just creates more originality. It creates more of that, we're on the edge, we're dealing with the unknown. Yeah, this is a problem.
I have one more note that I haven't read off of my list here. You ready? This is my last note. Black Adam would have been very useful, Superman too, but the Flash would have looted the city and punched an Airbnb host in the face.
But he couldn't get through the dome.
Dave went with the buzz. I went with the gush on that one. That is funny, dude.
That's my last note.
That was a good one. So these after credit scenes. Let's talk about these after credit scenes because I feel like.
Oh, was there one at the very end of the
right at the very
crawl?
end?
I didn't.
Don't worry,
it was late, guys.
The one at the end of the
first one. The first one.
Did you watch the after credit scene in the first movie with Mr. Mind, the worm?
Ah, shit, I don't know if I remember.
Well, there's this. Basically, it's one of the giant Shazam villains. He's one of the monster. I can't remember what they call it, but he's a huge Shazam villain. So when they showed that, everyone's like, oh, they're gonna do Mr. Mind. It's kind of like the Kingpin, I guess, but it's a fucking worm with a voice box. And So this time it cuts like at the end of the credits.
That would have been a really fun villain.
It cuts back to the.
Sounds like those mucus characters in the commercials for Mucinex.
Yeah,
that fucking thing. No, but like it cuts back to a prison cell, and it's the villain from the first movie. And Mr. Worm, like Mr. Mind, turns up, and yeah, he's in the prison cell, and he's like, "It's time. We're gonna do the thing." And the guy's like, "I've been waiting 2 years. Where have you been?" And he's like, "I've got little legs. I can't really run around much." And then like they start to build towards the reveal of what the big plan is. It's like, "Wait, I've got to do one more thing," and runs out. And that's the end of the credit scene. It's like, I feel like they're building Mr. Mind up, but they're never actually going to use him. He's just always going to be about to plan something. And I fucking laugh my ass off. I'm like, look, they're throwing it. It's like the Captain America patience thing at the end of Spider-Man.
I feel like that tone was in this movie, and they missed it a couple. It's like it was right there. I wish there was some more of that in the actual movie, but they decided to go with the high stakes
superhero. Yeah, just
let the dragon be funny. It doesn't have to be like Shrek dragon funny, but like whatever it is, I felt like
Jeff, I know what you mean, because you know how The Boys is. Did
The Boys just ruin everything? Did The Boys ruin everything? Because
I just want the camera to pan around and the dragon's like humping an SUV or something.
Yeah,
It's so dark. It's so explicit. It's so mature. I feel like there was a space for Shazam to own the lighter satire.
The Boys knows exactly what it is. And Shazam, the stakes were so high in this, and they didn't want to go funny with it. They wanted to take it seriously.
I want it to be like, I want Shazam. I want Shazam to be the drowsy chaperone of movies.
It's not going to be. But if they had a musical number of this, because Zachary Levi can sing, that would have been the best moment in the movie of his acting performance, is him singing in this movie.
Oh yeah, what was he on Broadway?
He was in 2 Broadway shows. He was in First Date as the lead, and he was in She Loves Me. She was the lead in She Loves Me with fucking Gavin Creel, Jane Krakowski, and Laura Benanti as his like second. You know what I mean? Like he was the lead in that movie, in that musical. Yeah, he's a good actor. He's good. He just buried his voice in his throat, which is why I don't know who was coaching him on this movie. Why did he do that? Oh yeah, I'm here. The whole movie, guys, get out of your throat.
It was weird. It was a strange.
Sorry, I don't want to be picky because again, I had fun, but I also want to watch this and shit. Man. I want to watch this and really shit on this, but have in a fun way with you all in the future.
So the after credits. The after credits. I had never heard of the Justice Society. Is that a real thing?
That was in Black Adam.
That was Black Adam.
All of those people in Black Adam were the Justice
Society. Literally, this is our Black Adam. In our Black Adam episode, we talked about this. And we actually said there shouldn't be both. That's confusing. And then they made a joke about how confusing it was in this movie.
But also, that was the one because it had like Harcourt and Economist from Peacemaker. They were the 2 characters walking up the road.
That's why it's funny in this movie where they're basically talking about the Black Adam movie without talking about it. That's fucking fun.
That turned out that way. They had to do that at the last minute because it was originally going to be Hawkman and one of the other characters coming to get him, and
Black Adam commandeered
The Rock wouldn't let him use him.
Come on, Dwayne.
He wanted to keep it separate.
Put that together, dude. Wow. Okay.
I don't want to hate on Dwayne because we're only hearing
Dwayne.
I don't know.
Controversy with Zach and Dwayne. I don't know. Is it all a lie? Is The Rock actually an asshole and nobody's honest about it in Hollywood?
I don't think so. I think he just wanted to keep it separate. But
I'm kidding,
I don't know. Yeah,
you're a good guy. Don't hit me.
Run for president and care about the climate and get the stickers off of fruit.
And with that throwback, I think we might be done.
Yeah, that's it. That's the period.
Like, subscribe. Thank you guys so much. And as always, fuck you, John. Happy birthday, Elizabeth. That sound means it is time for our final segment of the night. What you've been watching, where we give you our recommendations and tell you what we've been watching. It's been 2 weeks since we've seen our friend John, but we always start with Dave, so we got to keep the tradition alive. Dave. John, 2 weeks. What have you been watching on spring break?
I have been watching. I had just a little bit of my spring break. I'm still going with Better Call Saul. Really good show. And the only thing of note movie-wise that I was able to see is I sat down on HBOMAX and I watched Navalny, the documentary feature winner for this year's Academy Awards. And I felt like I was pretty well read on him and that whole situation, but the movie is worth watching for sure. It is. It's intense watching him speak just about those issues and the way. This is another one of those fantastic documentaries that you're going to be watching. You're going to be like, how did they know to document it then? You know, it was just, it was happening throughout so much of that stuff that the things that we were reading about in New York Times and other major, you know, publications were these people who were documenting it were there when it was actually happening and they were taping it. So it was just, you know, it's just a lot of that stuff. And they have a good context. It's very emotional. You get to see him and his family. It's fucked up, man.
I don't know how,
up, but,
when you're
really,
voting for an
really
Oscar,
worth watching.
when you're voting for the Oscars, all these movies are so important. I wonder how much that, you know, obviously it's about quality, but like you really want to promote these issues because that's documentary filmmaking is like more important now than ever. You know what I mean? It's so important.
I think that's, if I'm being totally honest, I don't think Navalny is my favorite documentary of the year, but it is probably the most important documentary of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking crazy what's happening with him. That is a shame.
On the day that Vladimir Putin and China's president Xi Jinping meet.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, John. Keep going.
Weird. No, that's it. What you got?
Dave?
Well, I went right back to the beginning and I watched Iron Man.
Nice,
and
dude.
then I watched Iron Man 2.
Oh, okay.
You skipped like 5 movies.
No, I didn't. That's the order.
Oh, we're going chronologically?
Yeah. And
wait. Sequentially or chronologically?
Chronologically.
Well, sequentially.
As in not the way they were released.
It's phased chronological.
It was either Thor or Captain America second, right?
I thought technically the first one is Captain America.
Thor,
the first one.
Thor, the after credit scene from Iron Man 2 is the lead into Thor. So that came after Iron Man 2.
The first movie chronologically is Captain America.
Is Iron Man.
No, it's not. It's fucking World War II, dude.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So there must be an order then. Production order, release order.
Okay.
Yeah. You're right. And given what I know now, after that Phase 4, Iron Man 2 is a better movie. I enjoyed it more on the rewatch.
Iron Man 2 is a better movie than Iron Man 1?
No, it's a better movie than I remember it being.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Now that Doctor Strange and Thor: Love and Thunder have put things in perspective.
That's the Mickey Rourke one, right?
Level of film. Yes, dude. The writing.
Yeah.
It's the writing.
And
you're not going to get RDJ to say yes to the multiverse.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, no, Benedict's a fantastic actor and he's tied in, but if that would have been the very first script they would have given to an A-list Oscar-nominated star, they would have been like, it's not ready. The script's not ready.
Didn't they cater the script to Mickey Rourke too? Because he had just come off The Wrestler when they cast him, right? So, Dave, didn't they? Because obviously they have a character that's in the comics.
I don't know. I didn't feel like it was catering to him in any way. It's like a pretty well-written movie.
I liked his character.
It just wasn't.
Barely spoke.
It didn't have the pizzazz and surprise
Formula
of
One,
Iron
baby.
Man. Anyway, that's where I'm up to.
Yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
Nice.
Have fun, dude. Are you going to watch them all?
I'm probably going to go through them all.
There's a little bit of me, whenever we watch these kinds of, just this whole new world of superhero movies, there's a little bit of me that's been thirsting to go back. And I watched the Batmans not too long ago. I think I did rewatch those, but kind of going back into the Marvel world is too good for you. Jeff, what you been watching?
Okay, I've seen a bunch of things. I'll save the best for last. I finally watched Where the Crawdads Sing because I read the book during the pandemic and I really liked the book. It's set in the marshes of North Carolina by the Outer Banks. And I knew based on the trailer that they turned it into a Lifetime movie, and it really bummed me out that like this girl,
clean, pristine,
this girl who broken house, raised herself in a marsh,
and not a postal voting box inside.
And it literally looks like she shops at West Elm for furniture, and you know what I mean. It's like, ugh, guys, come on. She's like way too attractive and put together for this fucking girl in the marsh.
Should have been grittier.
I mean, grit is the first step they should have added to this. But and I like the actress, but it's anyway. And I like David Strathair. They just turned it into like a prison thing and flashbacks and whatever. I didn't love it, but I saw it. And I like her, Daisy Edgar James. She's gonna keep working. Great. I rewatched the first hour of Shazam. Mandalorian season 3, I'm caught up and it's getting better from the first episode. I know I had my gripe and I don't take it back. It's getting better. The only thing I'll say about the third episode, if you've seen, which is the Coruscant episode where they go to the city place and it's all basically humans, is they're just fucking humans now, but they just call things differently. Like they're even saying shit like, it's too dangerous, sleep on it. I'll buy you a Bo-Katan fizzle. Oh yeah, give me a nice Bo-Katan fizzle. Great. And it's just like everything else is just fucking human. So like, I don't know if that's good or bad. Tongs days, am I right? It's like, okay, at least the lady with like the parts and the droids that, you know, is friends with Mando and Baby Yoda, like at least she has fun with it. Now they're just humans on Coruscant, and I think that's hilarious. They might as well be.
Strangers with candy, baby.
They are on the level they're on. Because the thing about Coruscant is it has about 160 levels to that city, and all the aliens live below.
Yeah, Jeff. What the fuck?
No. Don't you fucking... Guys, Earth doesn't exist.
Dude, it's canon.
Yeah, whatever. And also, can somebody have a plant? Don't they like nature there? Somebody have a tree inside or something. I feel like I watched something else that I can't remember. I watched The Godfather Part 2. It's not a single tree on this planet. How do they breathe? It doesn't make any sense, guys. Okay. Wait, I watched the entirety of The Godfather Part 2. I rewatched The Godfather Part 2.
Oh,
the
yeah,
whole
dude.
thing. Guys, it might be the best movie ever made.
I know, it's so good.
It's all right.
Not Godfather Part 1.
So good.
It's all right.
I wanted to
Fucking
bring
Dave.
up, because I missed you guys.
So good. It's so
Dave,
good.
Dave, you're objectively wrong, dude. That is a fantastic. They are fantastic movies.
Oh, I rewatched the Howard Ashman documentary. I watched it for the first time, and then I rewatched Aladdin because I can do whatever the fuck I want. That's why I did it. I rewatched Aladdin.
Can.
It's like 80 minutes, and so I watched the Howard Ashman documentary, and I loved it.
Which Aladdin?
That's it. Shut up, Dave. All right.
OG. I wanted to bring up because I think you guys probably talked about it.
My kids love the new ones, but no, I had to watch the original.
You probably talked about it, and I missed it. I just wanted to say I did finish. Elizabeth and I, we finished The Last of Us.
Cool.
And yeah, it's really good. I didn't know that's how the game ended.
Yeah.
And I assume the series is going to continue.
Yep.
I'm in this weird place with The Last of Us where like it's so well done. And I think there may be a piece of the cultural zeitgeist that I don't know if it landed as hard for me as I think it may have if I had discovered it as a game player. Like there's something about the way it played out where I felt like those themes have been explored in these kinds of dystopian apocalyptic worlds before in movies and television. So I don't know if I felt like that was like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. And I guess the show is, now that it's done and that whole first season is done, I feel like most of that show has kind of lived in that place for me where like it is almost brilliant. Because I think if I had been able to discover that for myself, it would have been something else. Without a doubt, my favorite episode is probably the second one. And Ron and the concierge from...
I mean, really, 1, 2, 3, 4.
White Lotus season 1. 2 and 4, is that 2 and 4?
No, that's 3. That was the third one. I love 4, though. Four was the Kansas City one that ended with the people coming out of underground.
Yeah, still really well done. And I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed the event television. We just don't get a lot of that very much anymore. And it's fun that everybody was watching that show and talking about it. And man, they did a really good job putting it together. It's so well made. It's just, really
I'm looking forward to the rewatch because I know the latter. I loved 4 a lot because of the surprise elements of the end, and they said that they were buried under the city. So when that came up at the end with the tension and stuff, and obviously 3 was great and 2 was great, and I love 1. But it's like, it's not that I don't love the rest. So I'm curious about the rewatch since it's a lot of story, and I'm gonna forgive the fact that there was a giant place on fire in this isolated community that nobody seemed to care.
Nobody came out.
Yeah. And I know in the game it's different, Dave. I haven't played the game, but obviously that's where you have to kill people. Obviously. Obviously, you can't just.
When I played that hospital sequence, no one survived in that hospital. Like at one point, the game character ran past me, and I was hiding behind something. One of the soldiers that was still alive ran past me, ran in the room I just came out of, and went, "Oh my fucking God, it's a massacre!" I killed that many fucking people in the hospital. But
I wasn't even talking about the hospital. I was talking about the restaurant in the cannibal society.
Yeah, that's a little different. That's
a little different. And then the hospital, and even in the abandoned city, there were 3 different places that the game probably would have been more violent, that the show was like, we're going human. And I was like,
and again,
I could have gone more violent.
As much of a proponent as I am of what we can do with point of view in cinema, I would imagine that if I had been put in a position to now the gameplay is kill everybody in this hospital. I think that would have done something to me that I don't know if the show does. And Dave, I don't know if you were in, you remember what it was like to play that game. And
oh yeah,
my brother played this game and he said he was super emotionally affected by it. So I don't know if it just didn't, I think whatever occurred when that gameplay introduced kill everybody, you were probably like, what? Oh, fuck. And you started shooting. And
no.
Were like,
I was like, no, it didn't introduce it. I chose to do it. I was pissed. By that point, that storyline had me.
All right. So it got you there and it built that up. For me, it was a little bit like, so that's I feel like I was able to observe it.
Yeah.
And I know that in first-person gameplay, that's a totally different experience.
I agree.
I'm not harping.
I feel the same way, Dave.
Being negative about the show, but I guess my expectations were just so high because I had heard so much about what this show was able to do with storytelling. And I just thought it was a really wonderful example. Craig Mazin is a fucking brilliant writer and showrunner. And this might be a thing that's lost in translation between the two mediums. And they're going to start greenlighting a lot of games IP. And it's something we have to be careful about. There is something different about literally pressing the buttons yourself and watching it.
Yeah.
It's just inherent. And I'm just excited to see how we start to navigate that.
And Dave, I love seeing all of the original cast members come into these very important scenes, including scenes.
That was a great sequence.
There's two. So you have the original Ellie, but also the original Joel, who was in a scene that he wasn't in the game. They purposely put him in a scene that he was in, which I thought was really cool. And the Ellie,
what was he in the show?
He was in the cannibal village.
But he wasn't the main guy. He was the other guy that got slashed.
He was the other guy, the one that copped the axe in the neck.
When oh, cool.
Yeah. That's cool. Great, so he wasn't in that scene because he was in the other place. So I think that's really cool. The only thing though is, and whatever happens in the hospital or in the abandoned city, which is I think Boulder, you got to give it. I watched the after episode and I told you this, Dave, when Craig Mazin said in the game, after Ellie is captured, you go back to Joel. He recovers. Yeah. Obviously, penicillin works, 7 times faster in this game than it does in real life, whatever. And then he goes, and then he has to rescue her. And they said they didn't want any of that. And I said, okay, that's fine. But you can't just burn down this building in this cannibal village and kill the main hero and not have consequences. And I do feel like they skirted consequences at the end. And that kind of bummed me out. Because
that was the thing I agreed with you on, because in the game, while she's taking out the leaders, he's going through the city taking out everyone else to get to her.
Let's see both of them. Yeah. And I know they're like, we wanted to see her tattered and abused. And I was like, I want to see her tattered and abused and fucking people up and having to do that.
Yeah. In the game, they weren't in a house. They were in a mall, which led to the flashback of
that's good too.
That's
weird.
Good.
Why did they change it?
Also, they were in a mall for I think like 3 months. Or something. Like he was down for like 2 or 3 months.
I don't know, because they do passage of time fine. They skipped 3 months after the Kansas City thing. So I don't know why they made those changes. I'll have to think about it more in the rewatch. But having said that, we're here talking about the show that we all saw weeks ago. So
my last Chris Farley, do you remember moment when Pedro was shooting up that hospital? I got hard vibes of Boardwalk Empire when Richard, the cripple, Jack Houston's character.
I'm so glad you continued to say vibes.
Come on. Neither of you watched Boardwalk Empire? Jeff, I thought you watched it.
I thought I did too.
No. When he shoots up that whole giant house full of gangsters to save the girls. Oh man, it's such a good. I don't want to give it away, but it's fucking incredible.
Maybe I'll watch it now. Cool.
After your Marvel rewatch. After your Marvel rewatch. No, I play dumb when I watch movies. I love forgetting that people ruin movies before, and I'm like, oh yeah, they ruined that movie, and I forgot when I saw it. Okay, anyway, people were running over, so we got to end our episode. We got to run this episode into the ground. I mean, we got to end it right now. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you like, subscribe, and join us next time when we talk about fucking John Wick 4. People, let's fucking go. The reviews are good, man. We are in the 90 percentile on 100 reviews. I know the reviewers don't matter at all, but that means this movie's got to be at least decent. So I'm fucking excited. John Wick 4
We're gonna have a great time.
Let's go.
I wish we could see it together.
Anything else before we go?
Nope.
Nope.
See you next time, film fans.